I said I was going to get into this yesterday, and then I sort of ran out of time, so didn't get into it here. And I don't have a lot to say because it's now almost a week old. But what happened last week was Christine Anderson, the German member of the European Parliament, was doing a tour of Canada. By all accounts, she was selling out at every venue she went to in Alberta and Ontario, even in Quebec. And the meetings she had at some point along the tour involved three Conservative members of Parliament: Colin Carey, Leslyn Lewis, and Dean Allison. I've spoken to all three of them. I don't know Colin Carey as well, but I've had Leslyn Lewis on the show a number of times. I've followed and tweeted back and forth with Dean Allison. And all three of them have been fairly outspoken on COVID mandates, certainly Leslyn Lewis. So Christine Anderson, who rose to fame for her rejection of Justin Trudeau's heavy-handed crackdown on the truckers, is obviously going to want to sit down with members of Parliament, fellow legislators that have a similar, if not identical, outlook as she does on this issue. Now, this is deliberately a charitable interpretation of events. And I'm going to talk about it this way, and then I'm going to flip to the less charitable side, and you can decide where you land on this. But I don't think, and I could be wrong, that Christine Anderson knew every single view that Leslyn Lewis held when they sat down for that lunch. I don't think that Christine Anderson knew every single view that Dean Allison had, that Colin Carey had. I think there was an opportunity for these two people that knew they were on the same side on COVID mandates to sit down. Now, when I interviewed Christine Anderson on this show a few weeks ago, I did not know huge amounts of information about her. I knew those viral clips that were shared online, such as her rebuking Justin Trudeau in Brussels. I had done my own research after we booked the interview and saw some of these claims that, the AfD, her party in Germany, was called an extremist group by the German government. I looked into it, and I saw in my preliminary research no evidence that she was racist, Islamophobic, or anti-Semitic. Now, I have still seen no evidence that Christine Anderson is racist, Islamophobic, or anti-Semitic. And the claim by Pierre Poilievre in that statement that was first reported by Brian Lilley that she was and that she never should have come to Canada is capitulating to the left. It's absolutely capitulating to the left. It feeds into the attacks that people are making about the Conservatives and was unaccompanied by anything resembling evidence. Now, before I go any further, there are some people that are saying, oh, but that wasn't Pierre Poilievre, it was a staffer. Okay, let's pause here. This is the way political communications works. You rarely text. In fact, you never just text the leader on their personal phone. You go through spokespeople who will give statements, which are oftentimes for attribution to themselves and oftentimes are for attribution to the politician for which that staffer works. Now, in this particular case, I don't know if Pierre Poilievre wrote the statement himself. I don't know if someone else wrote it and he saw it and approved it. But by Brian Lilley's reporting and other outlets reporting, it was for attribution to Pierre Poilievre. So if it wasn't him who said it, someone should be fired in his office, and he himself should be coming out and clarifying. But I don't think that's the case. His deputy leader, Melissa Lantsman, has tweeted out a screenshot of the statement herself. And again, I am not going to endorse 100% of what Christine Anderson has said and done because I don't know 100% of what she's said and done. But the idea that we think accepting these premises, which are often putting people in the least charitable light in bad faith, will ever help Conservatives. If we think that's going to happen, you are so sorely mistaken. How many people since this denunciation of Christine Anderson have said, yeah, you know what? I'm really glad the Conservatives took it seriously. No, you look on Twitter and everyone's still saying the Conservatives meet with Nazis. The Conservatives meet with racists. They say Leslyn Lewis, the black woman member of Parliament, is a racist, and Justin Trudeau, the guy that's done blackface so many times, he doesn't know how many times he's done it, is not. He has the moral high ground. Conservatives are the dirty, racist, neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic troglodytes. It's almost as though the critics to the right do not care about facts. It's almost as though they do not care about reality because they do not live in reality. Conservatives are never going to get a pass. Conservatives are never going to have their honest, good faith explanation of things accepted, because you cannot prove to someone that you are not a racist, Nazi, homophobe, Islamophobe when they believe you are. And they just look for pieces of evidence and data points they can use to make that point. All of the people accusing Leslyn Lewis and Dean Allison and the Conservatives of being Nazis right now do not believe that they're Nazis because they saw that picture of Christine Anderson with the 3 members of Parliament. No. They believe it because they hate conservatives. They hate people on the right. And the 3 of them could have met with the chief rabbi of Israel, and they're still going to be called anti-Semites. They could have met with the entire African Union and said, we love everything you guys are doing. We're going to give you money. We think cultural diversity is great. They're still going to be called racist. The criticisms are not in good faith. And people will say, well, are you saying that conservatives are trapped? Absolutely, I am. Because unless you start confronting the premises, you're always going to be beholden to the conclusions. The premises are that Christine Anderson is a racist Nazi. Therefore, by meeting with her, yes, it's absolutely terrible that the conservatives did that. So you have to challenge the premise. You either say, well, hang on, we didn't meet with her. Well, that's not true. They did. You say, hang on, she's not a Nazi, which I don't believe there's any evidence saying she is a Nazi. And you can also say, hold on. We should be meeting with all kinds of people. Why are you telling us that we shouldn't meet with people that have raised issues? And isn't it coincidental that a woman who embarrassed Justin Trudeau on the world stage is the one who's getting denounced and condemned by Justin Trudeau for having the audacity, the temerity to sit down with a few conservative members of Parliament? This is a distraction from issues that matter a great deal right now. And I like I said, I agree with a lot of what Pierre Poilievre is doing. I think this was a tremendous miscalculation on his part, and it has not helped him one bit. No one who was angry about the meeting is less angry now, and all he's done is alienated the people that thought Christine Anderson might have had something worth listening to. In which category you're in, you can decide for yourselves.